We were coming down the mountain, and on the very last hairpin bend, the brakes failed, and so the coach slammed into the wall, and unfortunately I was sat in the wrong place. I was sat just behind the driver, who unfortunately passed away, and I got caught in the flames.
Do you remember anything about the crash? Do you remember being on fire?
Yeah, so I was a bit in and out of consciousness. So I remember being on fire. My friend luckily came back on and pulled me off the coach, and that's the only reason I'm here right now. Um, but I remember being on fire. I remember him having to stamp out the flames on me, and I remember lying on the roadside for about 2 hours in and out of consciousness because of where we were placed. It was very difficult to get paramedics and things to us, so it was quite a long wait. But I remember looking at my arm and seeing that my skin was multicoloured and charred, and I didn't understand exactly what had happened to me, but I just knew that I was in this excruciating pain, and yet I was numb at the same time. And I've since learned that it's because when you get third-degree burns, it burns straight through your nerves. So it's a very difficult pain to describe, being on fire and the aftermath. But it is one of the worst things I could possibly ever imagine.
Did it enter your mind that you might die? Did you think you
Yeah,
might die?
I thought I was going to die. I thought when the coach, we slowly sped up as we were going towards the wall that we crashed into, and I thought then that I was going to die. And then lying on the roadside, I refused to close my eyes, and I refused to let the paramedics try and knock me out because I didn't want to. I was afraid that I wouldn't wake up again. So yeah, I was definitely afraid that that was going to happen to me.
Well, look, we almost need to underline for our listeners, I think, don't we? Because I've seen the pictures. You kind of took photos of different stages of your recovery, didn't you?
Yeah.
Which is quite illustrative of how bad things were, because you're believed to be the oldest person to survive the level of burns, the severity of burns that you experienced. You were given, as I mentioned, a 1 in 1,000 chance of survival. You are obviously a survivor, Catrin. Tell us about the recovery process, because it's been a long one, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a really long one. I spent 3 months in a coma, which obviously, along with the burns, which I had skin grafts to treat that, I ended up with neurological difficulties, which meant that waking up I couldn't walk and I couldn't use my hands. So it kind of complicated the process quite a lot. I also ended up with a visual impairment that was caused because I almost lost my life on multiple occasions. My optic nerve got damaged, so I have got no central vision in my eyes, which is, again, another complication. So the road to recovery it's been a very long one. I mean, I'm 3.5 years down the line now, and I'm still trying to get my independence back. I'm still trying to learn to use public transport and things like that. But I've really had to be positive, and I've really had to just keep going and trying.